The story opened the final day of filming a reality show. South Korean actress Cha Mu-hee and Japanese actor Hiro stand together at a breathtaking location, the sea stretching endlessly behind them. Their words are not exchanged directly. Instead, a translator named Ho-jin listens from another location, relaying their sentences through an earpiece. After a quiet moment of taking in the view, he turns to Mu-hee and speaks softly. He says he has enjoyed every part of this scenery because she's been part of it. Ho-jin freezes, his fingers tighten, his voice tight caught in his throat. For a moment, he cannot translate at all. Hiro notices the silence and asks Ho-jin to translate something else. We do not hear Hiro's exact words, but Ho-jin finally speaks and tells Mu-hee, I need Cha Mu to know that I adore her. The question lingers in the air, unspoken, but heavy. Are those Hiro's feelings, or Ho-jin's own heart finally breaking through? The story then moves back to one year earlier. Ho-jin is in Japan, working as a translator for a Korean writer named Mr. Kim. During their conversation, Ho-jin casually mentions that he will soon be traveling to Spain. For work, after parting ways, Ho-jin boards a train, unaware that fate has placed Cha Mu-hee in the same carriage. They both end up at a small ramen shop called rom-com ramen. Ho-jin sits beside Mu-hee and notices her struggling with a translation app on her phone, just as she realizes he is Korean too. So a chaos erupts. A young Italian boy at another, a table begins having a severe allergic reaction. Ho-jin, who speaks Italian, immediately steps in, calming the family and helping them get the boy into an ambulance. When Ho-jin returns to the ramen shop, he finds Mu-hee still there, quietly guarding his belongings. Grateful, she asks him for help translating a conversation with the shop owner. Only then does Ho-jin learn the real reason she came. She is there to confront her ex-boyfriend, Youn-jung, a chef at the restaurant who left her for another woman working there. Reluctantly, Ho-jin translates. The truth cuts deeper than Mu-hee expected. Yoon-jung's girlfriend is an older woman named Aiko, and she is 7 months pregnant. Yoon-jung left me only 3 months ago. Shocked and humiliated, Mu storms out of the restaurant. Moments later, Aiko approaches Ho-jin and asks him to pass on a message. She explains that the baby is not Eugene''s, but her ex-husband's. If Mu-hee can change Eugene's mind, she says she is willing to let him go. Mu-hee, burning with emotion, wants to go back inside and confront them again. Ho-jin refuses, saying he wants nothing to do with her chaos, but Mu looks him in the eyes and says she is doing this for love. Against his better judgment, Ho-jin agrees. Back inside, Mu asks Ko if Eugene was spending time with her during the weeks he would disappear. Ko admits that he was. Mu accuses Eugene of treating Aiko like a charity case. Ho-jin chooses not to translate that line, but Echo responds anyway, revealing her own story. She says she and Eugene have been together since his student days, but he fell for Mu-hee, a woman abandoned by her family. Echo accuses Mu of using her pain and loneliness to keep Eugene by her side. Mu's composure finally cracks. Tears fill her eyes as she says she does not want Echo to see her cry. Ho-jin steps forward and pulls her into a quiet embrace, shielding her tears. Then he lies to Echo, claiming that he and Mu-hee are traveling together and only stop by out of politeness. They leave the restaurant and say an awkward goodbye outside. Moments later, Mu-hee comes running back, breathless. She has accidentally taken Ho-jin's phone. As they exchange it, Ho-jin receives a call from the Italian boy's mother. She thanks him again and offers him her dinner reservation as a gift. Ho-jin hesitates, then turns to Mu-hee and asks if she wants to join him. She says yes. With hours left before dinner, they spend the day together. They walk through the city sightseeing, talking, slowly growing comfortable. Ho-jin learns that Mu-hee is an actress, though not a very famous one yet. They travel to a quiet island, and there Ho-jin opens up. He tells her about a woman named Jian, someone he once loved. He admits he came to the island because it is Jian's birthday and he wanted to see how much he still missed her. Their separation, he says, was caused by a simple misunderstanding that was never resolved. Later, as they search for a restaurant, they argue playfully about which direction it is in. Mu-hee proposes a bet. If she is right, Ho-jin must follow her on Instagram. Just then, Ho-jin receives a call from a man named Jin-suk, Gi-jun's current boyfriend. He says he fought with Gi-jun and noticed it from her Instagram that she is in Japan. Ho-jin realizes she is likely at the island's observatory. Encouraged by Mu-hee, he runs there with everything he has. Just as he arrives, Jin-suk calls again. Time passes. Mu-hee's life takes a sudden turn when she is cast as the lead in a zombie film. During filming, the director argues with the stuntman, and Mu-hee steps in, insisting on performing the stunt herself. She falls from a building, the shot flawless, but at the very last second, the safety cable snaps and she crashes to the ground. Mu wakes up in the hospital months later, having been in a coma. During that time, the film The Quiet Woman has become a global phenomenon, and her character, Dami, is now known around the world. Somewhere else, watching the news in silence, Ho-jin sees her face on the screen again. He smiles. That's where episode 1 ends. Episode 2 begins with Ho-jin returning to South Korea after 3 months away. Sitting in the backseat as his driver casually brings up celebrities, Ho-jin's thoughts drift to one person he cannot seem to escape, Cha Mu-hee. Almost without realizing it, he opens Instagram, searches for her account, and follows her, becoming her 10,000th follower. After a brief pause, he sends her a message. At the exact same time, on a filming set elsewhere, Mu-hee slips, falls, and gets injured. In the present, Mu-hee appears on a German talk show. Only a few weeks have passed since she woke up from her coma, and she still cannot fully believe what her life has become. Her Instagram has surpassed 10 million followers, her name echoing far beyond anything she once imagined. Backstage, she glances at a mirror and suddenly freezes. The reflection looking back at her is not her own, but Domi's calm and unsettling, as if the character has followed her back into reality. Meanwhile, Ho-jin arrives at a large house that once belonged to his grandfather. Inside, he finds Mr. Kim warmly welcoming guests and encouraging them to stay as if the house were still alive with memories. Ho-jin learns that Mr. Kim, a close friend, was a close friend of his grandfather. Quietly but firmly, Ho-jin asks him to tell his mother to remove all her belongings from the house. He intends to sell it and move on. As time passes, people begin to recognize Ho-jin in one of Mu-hee's Instagram photos, and speculation starts to spread online. Around the same time, Mu-hee is informed that she will be interviewed by Vogue Singapore. Her team hires an interpreter, and when Mu-hee walks in and sees Ho-jin waiting, she is genuinely surprised. During the interview, the question about the man in her Instagram photo comes up. Mu-hee explains that he is simply someone who once helped her find her way, though she admits that the idea of meeting a kind stranger can feel unexpectedly charming. After the interview, Ho-jin asks to speak with her privately. He admits that he intentionally took this job because there was something he wanted to ask her. But Mu-hee's schedule is packed and he ends up waiting through her next appearance, a talk show. While Mu-hee sits in the makeup room with her assistant, Ho-jin overhears her voice through the door as she confesses that she keeps thinking about her memories with him in Japan. Ho-jin watches her on the talk show, clearly captivated. When it ends, they walk together, and Mu-hee suggests having dinner to make up for the meal they never had. Ho-jin agrees, but insists on keeping it short. During their conversation, he directly asks her to take down the photo she posted of him, explaining that it is causing misconceptions. Mu-hee hesitates, saying that deleting it could lead to even more rumors. Ho-jin finally reveals the real reason. He does not want Gi-jin to know that he went to the island on her birthday. Mu-hee is surprised to learn that he never actually went to see Gi-jin. After dinner, Ho-jin tells Mu-hee that he will contact her manager, Youn-jung, once he makes a final decision about the photo. On the way back, Youn-jung casually mentions something that leaves Mu-hee shaken. Ho-jin had visited the hospital while she was still in a coma, long before the film became a success and before she became famous. Curiosity quietly takes hold of her, and her thoughts begin to circle around the woman named John. Later that night, Ho-jin returns home and opens a drawer, taking out a small charm. Holding it, he remembers Japan, the day he met Jin, and how she bought matching charms, saying they would help them find each other again someday. The next time he saw her, she was standing beside his friend. Jin-suk, introduced as Jin-suk's girlfriend, Ho-jin soon messages Youn-jung and asks for the photo to be deleted. Mai agrees. As she glances at Young-jung's phone, she notices that the message history Ho-jin had repeatedly checked in on her condition while she was unconscious, asking about her health again and again. Sitting alone in her van, Mu-hee calls Ho-jin and thanks him for visiting her in the hospital. At the same time, Yang-gu finally uncovers Jun's identity. She is a producer he recognizes, and he blurts it out in shock. Ho-jin hears everything through the phone, his tone changing as hurt and frustration surface. Feeling guilty, Mu-hee drives straight to his place to apologize in person. She openly admits her curiosity. After a long silence, Ho-jin invites her inside, saying it is better to satisfy her curiosity fully so she does not get involved again. Inside the quiet house, Ho-jin explains everything. He met Gi-jin on a trip, but they never saw each other again. When their paths crossed later, she was already dating Jin-suk. Mu-hee listens carefully and then asks if things between them would have been different if they had actually gone to dinner that day. Ho-jin answers honestly, no, he has visited that island every year on Jun's birthday, and his feelings have never completely faded. Mu-hee laughs it off, saying she only wanted to confirm that he does not have feelings for her. Ho-jin agrees and tells her they should not meet again. Even though he will always cheer for her from a distance, the story shifts to a film festival in Tokyo. Mu-hee walks a red carpet as cameras flash endlessly. Suddenly, she sees Dorami again. The figure steps forward and pushes her. In her vision, Mu-hee falls into a dark, endless hole. She snaps back to reality when a Japanese actor catches her just in time, sending reporters into a frenzy. Later, after finishing a work assignment, Ho-jin returns to his hotel. Outside his room, he finds Mu-hee crouched on the floor. Tears stream down her face as she looks up at him and quietly admits that her festival, the one she thought would never end, is slowly coming to an end. Episode 2 ends here. Episode 3 begins with the chaos on the red carpet. Mu-hee's car comes to a stop and right behind it, another vehicle pulls in. Inside is Hero. He watches her step onto the carpet, cameras flashing endlessly. He waits for her moment to pass, but suddenly she freezes. Sensing something is wrong and unwilling to lose his chance, Hero steps out anyway. Just as Mu collapses, he reaches her in time and catches her. The two of them falling into the spotlight together. Elsewhere, producers of a travel reality show begin reviewing potential pairings for their upcoming project. They are searching for a female actress to star alongside Hero. When they see the clip of him catching Mu-hee on the red carpet, they exchange glances. The chemistry feels natural, unplanned. Without hesitation, they decide the two of them would make the perfect pairing. And in Japan, Ho-jin takes Mu-hee to see a doctor he knows well. Inside the quiet clinic, Mu-hee explains that Youn-jung recognized Ho-jin at the hotel, which is how she knew where to go when she needed help. She hesitates before asking for anxiety medication, then reluctantly opens up about the visions of Domi that continue to haunt her. She admits that she was involved in a major accident as a child, one that took her parents' lives. Yes, she cannot remember any of it. A flashback surfaces in Ho-jin's mind. He recalls overhearing Mu-hee's relatives at the hospital years ago, telling the head doctor that Mu-hee had cut ties with them and insisting that he never contact them again. Back in the present, the doctor prescribes medication and advises Mu-hee to undergo further tests once she returns to Seoul. As they leave, Ho-jin gently reminds her to take care of herself and warns her not to drink at the event she is attending that night. At the party, Mu-hee runs into Hero, expects gratitude, assuming she recognizes him as the man who caught her. Instead, Mu-hee casually assumes he wants a photo with her. The confusion on Hero's face is clear. She does not recognize him at all. Not long after, the producers of the travel show reach out to Ho-jin, asking him to join as the interpreter. Since the show will involve traveling across different countries, his language skills are essential. Ho-jin is caught off guard when he learns that Jun was the one who recommended his name. That night, Jin-suka meets Ho-jin for a meal. Drinks flow freely and Jin-suka grows increasingly drunk. In a careless moment, he reveals that he plans to marry Gi-jin within the next month. When Jin arrives to take him home, she casually asks Ho-jin about the TV show offer. Realizing that accepting the job would conveniently allow him to avoid attending the wedding, Ho-jin says yes. Another shock awaits him at the studio. As he steps inside, he realizes Mu-hee is the show's leading actress. During a preliminary interview, Mu-hee suddenly sees Do-re-mi again. Her confidence crumbles, her answers falter, and the room grows awkwardly quiet. During a break, Young-woo tells Mu-hee that Ho-jin is likely only there because Jin asked him to be. When Mu and Ho-jin finally find a moment alone, the tension is immediate. Mu-hee admits that her medical test came back clear, yet Do-re-mi still appears. Ho-jin scolds her for not taking better care of herself. In response, she brings up Jae-in. Deliberately striking a nerve, Ho-jin fires back, admitting he agreed to the show only to avoid Jae-in's wedding. Their argument escalates, spiraling into doubts about whether they can work together while knowing so much about each other. In the end, Ho-jin decides to quit. After he leaves, Mu-hee steps into an elevator. Inside, Do-re-mi is waiting. As the doors close, Do-re-mi mocks her mercilessly. Panic sets in, Mu-hee collapses, screaming as the elevator descends. When the doors open, the show's staff stand, frozen, staring at her crushed on the floor. Embarrassed, Mu-hee forces a smile, brushes it off, and tells Young they should leave immediately. Back at home, Ho-jin and Mr. Kim come across an old family photograph. It shows Ho-jin's parents, Ho-jin himself, and Jin himself, who was born to a different mother. Mr. Kim studies the photo, then gently brings up Mu-hee, warning Ho-jin that his words can sometimes be sharper than intense. Seeking peace, Mu-hee reaches out to Ho-jin and asks to meet. Over a quiet meal, they apologize to each other for their harsh words. The producers have not contacted Mu again, and she seems to have accepted that it is over. Together, they talk about the Aurora Borealis, something they both wish they could have seen on the show. Then, Mu-hee receives a call from Young-woo. She has been cast in the travel show after all. Relief quickly turns into fear as anxiety grips her. Realizing that Ho-jin might be the only person who can truly help her through it, she looks at him and asks him to come with her. After a moment's hesitation, Ho-jin agrees. Episode 3 ends here. Episode 4 begins with the preliminary interviews where Hero and Mu-hee each learn who they're traveling with during the show. Mu-hee's expression brightens with quiet pairing, pleasantly surprised by the hearing. However, reacts differently, his face remains composed, but there is a sharp edge beneath his calm. The show's first destination is Canada. The cast and crew settle into their hotel, adjusting to the new environment. It is only then that Mu-hee finally realizes the truth. Hero was the one who caught her on the red carpet. The memory clicks into place. She asks Young-woo about Ho-jin, but he firmly tells her to stop worrying about him and focus on Hero instead. Hero, on the other hand, is far from enthusiastic about working alongside Mu-hee. Sensing his resistance, producer Kim steps in and persuades him to continue with Ho-jin, quietly supporting the conversation. But producer Kim makes one request of Ho-jin. He must keep Hero's hesitation a secret. In return, Ho-jin asks for something of his own. He wants the crew to call Mu-hee by her real name, not by D-Rami. Back at the hotel, Ho-jin arrives at the room he shares with Young-yu and casually asks if Mu-hee likes Hero. Young-yu answers honestly that she does. Later, he passes this conversation on a Yu as an excuse. Mu-hee goes to see Ho-jin, but he quickly sees through her plan. They take a walk together and catch up. Ho-jin mentions that his brother is getting married the following week. As for Dorami, Miu admits she still sees her constantly. The visions come with harsh taunts and cruel insults. Ho-jin gently points out that those words are her own thoughts echoing inside her mind, but Mu-hee struggles to explain them. Describing them to him would feel like exposing the most private pages of her diary. Mu-hee is not the only one being haunted. Hero jolts awake from a nightmare in which Dorami appears. His assistant later tells him that Mu-hee is planning a surprise for their first official meeting and suggests that he should prepare something too. Hero reveals the truth behind his irritation. It is not that Mu-hee failed to recognize him. What bothers him is how her zombie in image might damage his carefully crafted romantic persona. Mu-hee asks Ho-jin what Hiro really thinks of her, but he refuses to answer. He insists that his role as an interpreter is to translate words, not emotions. Still, he offers one piece of advice. She should not listen to Dorami, even when those words sound exactly like her deepest insecurities. Ho-jin is about to say more when Yang-yu interrupts and Mu-hee is forced to leave. Soon, the crew prepares for the actors' first official meeting. Mu-hee and Hiro are placed in a park connected only through earphones with Ho-jin translating between them. Hiro releases a series of balloons and asks Mu-hee to follow them. She runs after them, slowly losing her breath quietly without anyone noticing. Ho-jin helps her locate Hiro faster. When Hiro subtly mocks film, Ho-jin softens his words. Mu-hee eventually presents Hiro with a heart made of maple leaves. Under his breath, Hiro mutters, "This is the worst." Ho-jin hears it clearly. Suddenly, dust gets into Hiro's eye and his contact lens falls out. He refuses to continue filming, claiming he has no replacement. The shoot comes to a standstill. Ho-jin confronts Hiro's manager Nami and insists they solve the problem quickly and discreetly. She tells him something that could change Hiro's mind. Ho-jin gathers all the Korean snacks Young-gu brought and puts them into a bag, saying he is heading downtown to meet a friend. Mu-hee, wanting to apologize to Hiro for the leaf heart and the trouble it caused, joins Ho-jin for the ride. He warns her not to approach Hiro without him. Ho-jin meets his friend and trades the bag of snacks for a thin envelope. While he's gone, Mu-hee spots Hiro on the street, calmly taking photos, looking perfectly fine. Dorami appears beside her and urges her to throw a rock at him. Mu-hee clenches her hand, but stops herself. Hiro notices her and walks away. Ho-jin arrives moments later and finally tells her the truth. Hiro never wanted her cast in the first place. Ho-jin then meets Hiro and hands him the thing envelope. Whatever is inside changes Hiro's expression completely. He agrees to resume the shoot. Ho-jin rushes to find Mu-hee, but her phone is switched off. On the drive back, Ho-jin admits that he did not fully translate everything Hiro said earlier. He also promises that from now on he will translate everything. She says, even her profanities despite his rule against it. Back on set, Mu-hee follows Ho-jin's advice and refuses to shrink herself. She walks straight toward Hiro, raises her fist as if she is about to punch him, then opens her hand into a heart at the last second. Hiro's heartbeat suddenly races. The truth about the envelope is revealed. Hiro has long wanted to attend an ice hockey game and Ho-jin managed to secure those tickets for him. Another flashback unfolds. Hiro sits with the show's writer, producer, and Ho-jin. The writer tells him not to force a smile if he does not feel it, but to stay open to the possibility that he may grow to like a Mu-hee. Hiro promises that if he does start to fall for her, he will confess honestly. The episode ends with Mu-hee running toward Ho-jin, only to freeze when she sees him standing face-to-face with Gi-jin. Episode 4 ends here. Episode 5 begins with Hiro and Mu-hee traveling across Canada together, taking part in various activities planned for the show. Mu-hee is constantly smiling bright and cheerful in a way that never seems forced. Hiro finds it strange. Nami notices his confusion and then tells him that Mu-hee genuinely looks like someone on a date with a man she likes. When Mu-hee excitedly discovers a 4-leaf clover, both Hiro and Ho-jin watch her from a distance, quietly drawn to her joy. As Hiro and Mu-hee sit together watching the sunset, Mu-hee softly says it is the most beautiful sunset she has ever seen simply because she is not watching it alone. Later, she learns that producer Kim has had to return home due to an emergency and that a new producer will be taking over. As if things could not get worse, the chances of seeing the aurora borealis drop even further. With the next day's shoot called, Mu-hee and Young-gu decide to drink with dinner. She's disappointed to hear that Ho-jin has gone out alone to a bookstore. When Ho-jin returns to the hotel, he finds Young-gu passed out drunk and Mu-hee wearing his glasses. She explains that she wanted to see the world the way he does. Mu-hee steps outside while still wearing them, and Ho-jin follows to retrieve them. only to realize he has left his room key inside. That is when Mu-hee suddenly remembers she has forgotten her own key as well. With nowhere to go, they end up talking through the night, sharing quiet moments until Mu-hee eventually falls asleep. In the morning, they walk together to a nearby farmer's market. At a small diner, Mu-hee explains that she is trying to collect 7 4-leaf clovers. She believes it will bring good luck and allow them to see the northern lights. Ho-jin remains skeptical, but Mu-hee tells him to have faith. Later, Ho-jin leaves briefly on an errand. While waiting for him, Mu-hee gets lost but finds another 4-leaf clover and runs off to look for him. Instead, Ho-jin runs into Jun, who has just arrived from the airport. She reveals that she is replacing producer Kim. When Mu-hee arrives and sees them together, her expression falls. Elsewhere, Hiro asks Nami if she truly believes Mu-hee likes him. Deciding not to lead her on, he resolves to act colder toward her. Inside the car, Dororemi appears and mocks Mu-hee, revealing that she had a room keycard all along. She pushes Mu-hee to ask Jin about her wedding scheduled for the following week. Jun responds vaguely, saying she was simply the only producer available. As Jun and Ho-jin head to Hiro's hotel, Mu-hee waits alone for Young-gu. Inside the hotel, Ho-jin asks Jun about the wedding again, but she brushes it off. A flashback reveals Jin-suk once saying he wanted to get the wedding over with, deeply disappointing her. While out on a run, Hiro spots Mu-hee sitting alone on a bench. She pours out her feelings to him. Even though he understands very little of what she says, she admits she no longer wants the Aurora Borealis to appear now that June is here. That evening, the entire crew has dinner together. During the meal, June announces that she is postponing her wedding by 1 week for the sake of the show. A flashback surfaces of Mu-hee asking Ho-jin how he can love one person for so long. Ho-jin compares it to a horror movie he wants to end but cannot escape. Later, Mu-hee tries to comfort Ho-jin. She tells him to run away with someone this time, someone who can protect him. Ho-jin responds bitterly, saying he already tried getting close to someone else and it did not work. He tells her she should only stay if she wants to be a rebound. Hurt, Mu-hee calls him mean and walks away. The next day, the crew travels out of town for a nighttime shoot under the northern lights. As preparations begin, Jian tells Mu-hee that Ho-jin was involved in a minor car accident. While he handles the situation, Nami will act as the interpreter. The shoot ends without any sign of the aurora. Hiro notices Mu-hee's changed behavior and mentions it to Naomi. Having realized that Mu-hee's feelings are actually directed toward Ho-jin, Nami assumes the issue lies in her own interpretation. Later, Yang-gu enters Jisun's tent to bring her food and accidentally answers a call from Jin Si-suk. As Jin Si-suk speaks, it becomes clear that the wedding has been called off and that he wants to resume it. Jun panics, threatening Young-gu and warning him not to tell anyone. When Ho-jin finally returns, he calls Mu-hee outside to meet him. She apologizes, believing she cursed him and that it came true. Ho-jin reassures her and then quietly points to the sky. Above them, the Aurora Borealis fills. He reveals that while dealing with the accident, he found the 7th 4-leaf clover. Mu-hee asks him to stay and watch the lights a little longer. A brief flashback reveals that Ho-jin had found her room key card while she was sleeping and realized. The final moment shows Ho-jin using his phone's flashlight to search for a 4-leaf clover while his driver chats casually with the driver of the other car. Episode 5 ends here. Episode 6 begins with Mu-hee and Ho-jin standing side by side beneath the Aurora Borealis. The sky shimmers above them, alive with the color. Quietly, Mu-hee wishes that her impossible hope of being with Ho-jin might somehow come true. Afraid of watching the light fade away, she suggests they leave while it is still beautiful. Back at the camp, Young-gu speaks honestly with John. He tells her not to take Jin Si-suk back if he cheated, saying that cheating crosses a line that cannot be erased. When Jin Si-suk calls again, Jin answers calmly and tells him she cheated on him too and that their relationship is over. After hanging up, Yang-gu asks if she really cheated. Jun replies that she plans to. Yang-gu struggles to understand her logic. When Ho-jin's name comes up, Gijin says she would never cheat with him because she once had feelings for him. Meanwhile, Ho-jin drops Mu-hee off at her hotel room. He grows visibly annoyed when she starts gushing about Hiro, especially his dimples. The next day, the team heads out to film at a scheduled location, only to find the gates closed due to a date discrepancy. While waiting, Mu-hee notices Hiro taking photos. They spend some time together, awkwardly communicating through a translation app. Hiro almost asks her if she likes him but stops himself just in time. Once the gates finally open, Mu-hee and Ho-jin walk together. Ho-jin mentions that he grew up in the United States and has been here before. He tries to take her to a nearby waterfall, but they end up at a quiet lake instead. Laughing, they pretend the lake is the waterfall they were looking for. In that gentle moment, Mu-hee suddenly kisses Ho-jin. Almost immediately, she pulls back in shock and blurts out that Doremi made her do it. That evening, the team plays competitive games. Ho-jin's team wins against Mu-hee's, but Hiro losing buys drinks ring for everyone. Later, Hiro and Mu-hee say goodbye knowing they will meet again in Italy. After Mu-hee leaves, Nami quietly remarks that Hiro seems to have changed his mind about her. Inside the bar, the show's writer, Ms. Cho asks Ho-jin if he would consider appearing on one of her dating variety shows. Ho-jin declines, saying it is not his style. Ms. Cho smiles unsurprised and mentions that Jijin told her Ho-jin has liked someone for a long time. The comment shocks him. He looks toward Jean, wondering how much she knows. Mu-hee notices his gaze and abruptly announces that she is leaving because she has an early flight back to Seoul. Alone in her room, Doremi appears, again questioning Ho-jin through Mu-hee's mind, asking why he is pretending nothing happened and whether Mu-hee means anything to him at all. Another vision follows. A younger Mu-hee runs toward a balcony and falls. In the silence that follows, Mu-hee thinks she already knows the answer. She believes she cannot be loved. The next morning, she is surprised when Ho-jin shows up and offers to drive her to the airport. During the drive, he admits he could not sleep because of the kiss. They both confess that each assumed the other did not care. Ho-jin tells her he is trying to sort out his feelings and has decided to speak with the Jijin. Mu-hee admits she no longer wants to pretend everything is fine. Ho-jin promises to call her after he talks to Jian. At the airport, Yang-gu voices his concern. He reveals that Jijin is no longer getting married and wonders whether Ho-jin likes Mu-hee enough for that not to change things. Panic grips Mu-hee. She suddenly decides she has to go back and talk to Ho-jin before he meets Gijin. A brief flashback shows Mu-hee and Ho-jin listening to a Corey Lane song in the car. Mu-hee tells him that the song should be theirs from now on. At the present, Ho-jin searches for a record by the same artist at a bookstore. There he runs into Jian and asks to speak with her privately. Jijin tells him about her wedding and the news surprises him. At the same time, Mu-hee rushes through the city looking for Ho-jin. When she reaches the bookstore, she sees Ho-jin and Jin talking and smiling together. Her heart sinks. Drami appears and tells her to pretend she knows nothing, just like she did when she was a child. Mu turns away and runs, but Ho-jin spots her and follows. He manages to stop her. What follows is an emotional outpouring from Mu-hee. She assumes that now that Ho-jin knows Jain is not getting married, he will pursue her. She admits her pride was wounded when he did not return her feelings, and that was why she tried to make him fall for her. Now she says she is giving up. Continuing any further would only make her feel foolish. Ho-jin is deeply shaken then. He agrees to end things here as he himself may have been swayed by her emotions. Yet, he also admits that until to this moment, he truly wanted to be with her. As he walks away, Mu realizes her mistake too late. A flashback reveals Ho-jin's conversation with Jijin. He confesses that someone entered his life and turned it upside down, showing him a brighter world. Back in the present, Mu-hee returns to the airport in tears. On the flight, Hiro notices she has not moved for a long time and gently asks if she is okay. 2 weeks later, the story returns to Seoul. Hiro is back in the country and Nanomi tells him that Mu-hee has gone to attend a live music concert. Hiro makes a quiet comment about what she did to him. At a classical music concert hall, Mu-hee suddenly realizes that the interpreter translating for the Italian composer on stage is Ho-jin. Episode 6 ends here. Episode 7 begins with Ho-jin bringing his drunk brother home late at night. Jin-suk numbs his pain by posting recklessly on Instagram, turning his emotions into something. Ho-jin watches quietly and says he handles his feelings differently, choosing to carry them alone. At Mu-hee's place, Young-ka tells her that Hiro's manager has been asking about her schedule. He casually asks if something happened between her and Hiro on the flight. Mu-hee shrugs it off, saying she fell asleep after having a glass of wine. Her expression changes when she realizes Yang-gu will be moving in with Ho-jin temporarily until he finds another place nearby. Durami appears trapped inside a snow globe, staring silently at her. Just before the concert, Jin-suk, who had invited Ho-jin and Mr. Kim, suddenly decides not to attend. He leaves for San Diego in Spain, saying he needs time alone to reflect on his actions. A flashback reveals a tense conversation between Jin-suk and Jin, where he admits he wants to get the wedding over with. When she asks why, he simply says it is because she wants it. Back in the present, the Italian ambassador greets Ho-jin at the concert and informs him that their interpreter has called at the last minute. He asks Ho-jin to step in. Ho-jin agrees. After the introduction, he does not return to his seat beside Mu-hee. After the concert, Mu-hee is invited to speak with the ambassador and his wife. She expects to see Ho-jin there, but instead finds a different interpreter standing by their side. Later, Mr. Kim recognizes her and loudly greets Ho-jin, clearly trying to draw her attention. They end up in the same elevator and, despite Ho-jin's objections, Mr. Kim invites Mu-hee to Ho-jin's house for dinner. At the house, Mu-hee tries to speak to Ho-jin, but he keeps his distance, his tone cold. Using playful metaphors about a food, she hints that she wants to try again. After some light conversation about Canada and its waterfalls, Mu-hee finally says it plainly. She wants him back. Elsewhere, Hiro walks through Seoul with Nami, expecting Mu-hee to call him first. He refuses to reach out himself. Meanwhile, Young-gu visits the editing room and overhears the staff mentioning that a Jin-suk is in Spain. As he leaves, he notices Jin arriving in a cab, clearly coming from a nightclub. Her ankle is sprained and he helps tape it. They talk, drifting into personal territory. Young-gu mentions that his uncle is the AY's CEO. He brings up the affair Jae-seon once hinted at, saying he is worried about her. Jae-seon challenges him, claiming she knows he is attracted to her. She kisses him and turns away, but Yang-gu pulls her back for another kiss. At the same time, Hero grows increasingly frustrated that Mu-hee still has not called him. Back at Ho-jin's house, Mr. Kim tells Mu-hee that Ho-jin once wrote a book during his college days. He also reveals that Ho-jin is following her on Instagram. When Mr. Kinley gets Ho-jin alone, he asks why he is being so distant with Mu-hee. Ho-jin admits he does not understand the language she speaks. He thought she rejected him, but now her actions say otherwise. Mr. Kim encourages him to learn her language just as he would any other. As Mr. Kim prepares to leave, Mu-hee finds the Corey Lane record in the house and realizes Ho-jin has been listening to it. She decides to go as well. Ho-jin notices she is trying to steal the record sleeve and tells her to keep it. Admitting the record was always meant to be a gift for her, she says they will meet again, possibly at Yang-gu's housewarming. Ho-jin smiles, comforted by the idea that there will be a next time. Once inside, Ho-jin realizes Mu-hee took only the sleeve and left the actual record behind. He calls her and says he will bring the record to her place. Mu-hee waits outside her apartment, excited. Her smile fades when a car pulls up carrying her uncle and aunt. She is forced to get in with them while Ho-jin waits helplessly at her door, unable to reach her. The next morning, Ho-jin calls Young-gu and learns that Mu-hee is safe and at her shoot. Yang-gu explains she has not been answering calls because of an article that was published. Reporters discovered that Mu-hee's father was the chairman of a private school foundation, and the media is claiming she was born into privilege. When Young-gu tells Mu-hee that Ho-jin called, she admits she stood him up and says she will not see him now. A flashback shows a young Mu-hee injured sitting with her uncle and aunt. They ask if she truly does not remember what happened to her parents. The child nods back in the present while filming memories begin flooding back. She sees her father smiling at her on her birthday, then suddenly collapsing. Dorami appears and tells her that her deepest fear is true, that she cannot be loved. Mu-hee shuts her eyes in terror. When she opens them again, she is no longer herself. She is Dorami, elsewhere. Hero finally decides to reach out to Mu-hee. A flashback reveals that Dorami woke up on the flight and pulled Hero into a kiss. In the present, John watches in the quiet woman while preparing clips for the show. A colleague casually notes that Dorami only kills one person with her own hands in the entire film, her lover. The episode ends with Ho-jin returning home only to find Mu-hee waiting inside. She looks at him calmly and introduces herself as Dorami. Episode 8 begins in a child's baptism. Mu-hee's aunt and uncle sit among the guests, composed and watchful. The doors open and Mu-hee arrives wearing a striking red coat. Her presence is sharp, deliberate. She steps forward as the baby's godmother, but the woman standing there is no longer Mu-hee. She is Dorami. After the ceremony, Dorami calmly approaches her aunt and uncle. She tells them plainly that she is Dorami, not Mu-hee, and that she knows the truth about what happened to Mu-hee's parents. Her voice is steady as she warns them not to interfere in Mu-hee's life ever again. Speaking of Mu-hee, as if she were someone else. Laterly, Domi appears at Ho-jin's house. The moment he sees her, he senses something is wrong. Her tone is colder, her gaze unfamiliar. She tells him not to accept Mua's apology and not to let Mu-hee follow him to Italy. Exhausted by her strange behavior, Ho-jin finally snaps. He says he will never be with someone like with a Mu-hee, someone who is careless with other people's feelings. He declares that this is over completely. Dorami tells him not to mention any of this to Mu-hee, which only deepens his confusion. Before he can react, he realizes too late that she has slipped a pill into his glass of water. His vision blurs and he collapses. Ho-jin wakes up the next morning disoriented, disturbed by how Mu-hee acted the night before. Yang-gu arrives with his belongings and casually mentions that Mu-hee has gone to her pilot's class. Ho-jin, unsettled, starts looking for another interpreter to replace him for the Italy portion of the A show. A friend connects him with someone named Yoko and wonders aloud whether Ho-jin's grandfather, who worked in publishing, might somehow be connected to Mu-hee's family. At the office, Young-gu meets with Miss Cha, the show's writer, and other staff to discuss the Italy schedule. Cha mentions that Hiro is especially fond of his niece. Meanwhile, Jun messages Young-gu saying she wants to talk. He tells her to come upstairs, unaware that she is waiting outside his house, not the office. A flashback shows them going up to Young's place together the night before. In the present, Jun goes up again, and when a woman opens the door, she completely misreads the situation. Elsewhere, Ho-jin goes to see Mu-hee. She finds a poem tucked inside the dress she wore the previous night, a page torn from a book at Ho-jin's house. Ho-jin recognizes it immediately, but Mu-hee does not. She apologizes to him sincerely for everything before leaving for an interview. Later, Mu-hee recalls a moment from a previous shoot when she felt incapable of doing anything. She remembers closing her eyes tightly, and when she opened them again, she was at home in bed and the shoot was already over. It was Durami who took over for her. Mu-hee meets Hiro for a meal, their manager seated nearby. She gives him a gift for his niece and notices that Hiro has started learning Korean. He cautiously asks her about the kiss on the plane, but Mu-hee denies that it ever happened. In Japanese, Hiro admits that he knows she did not kiss him because she likes him, but he wanted to ask anyway. After the meal, Mew begins to wonder if it was Durami who kissed him. She stands in front of a mirror and closes her eyes. Durami emerges. At that moment, Ho-jin calls Mu-hee trying to talk things through. Durami answers instead, coldly ending the call. She then walks up to Hiro and whispers something in his ear. Before leaving, she takes Mu-hee's passport from Young-yu and declares that she is going to Italy. Back at the office, Young-yu and finally meet. Young confronts her directly. He tells her he does not have one-night stands and believe they were starting a real relationship. When Jijin mentions the woman she saw at his house, Young-yu explains that he has moved and no longer lives there. Realizing her mistake, Jin is visibly embarrassed. In Italy, Durami enjoys ice cream at a small shop when Ho-jin suddenly appears in front of her. He has finally understood the truth. She is Mu-hee's other self. Ho-jin tries to uncover Mu-hee's hidden past, hoping to understand why Durami exists, but she reveals nothing. Calmly, Ho-jin uses his fluent Italian to return all of Rami's impulsive shopping, making sure her credit card is locked and her phone battery drained. Ho-jin asks her if she will disappear once Mu-hee becomes happy. Durami says she might. At her request, Ho-jin goes to buy her a coffee. Later, Mu-hee wakes up disoriented, realizing she is in Italy. Someone approaches her across the square. It is not Ho-jin, it is Hiro. Durami had told him she would be waiting for him at the clock square. As Mu-hee and Hiro stand facing each other, Ho-jin steps out of the cafe and sees them together from a distance. Episode 8 ends here. Episode 9 begins with Hiro and Mu-hee attending an opera as part of the show's itinerary. Sitting in the grand hall, Mu-hee talks excitedly about how much she loves the famous opera scene from Pretty Woman. The crew plays the music from that very piece, and to everyone's surprise, Mu-hee softly sings along, reciting the lyrics with ease. The crew watches in amazement, impressed by a side of her they did not expect. Almar, a flashback takes us to Hiro at home before flying to Italy playing with his niece. His sister teasingly brings up the kiss between him and Mu-hee, making him flustered. Just then, Hiro receives a message from Mu-hee, a photo of her location with a short line saying she is waiting for him. Back in Italy, Hiro finds Mu-hee who looks genuinely confused and admits she cannot remember how she got there. As she pieces things together, she realizes it was Dami who invited Hiro. In that moment, she understands that what Hiro said about the kiss must have been true. She directly asks him if he likes her. Hiro responds enthusiastically that he does not. Mu-hee quickly clarifies that she does not like him either, and the tension between them dissolves into an oddly honest understanding. The reality show filming officially begins, and Mu-hee feels a quiet sense of comfort when she hears Ho-jin's voice through her earpiece again. As the Italy segment unfolds, Mu-hee's nights are no longer her own. She wakes up each morning to photos on her Instagram showing food and drinks she does not remember having. A series of flashbacks reveal that Ho-jin has been accompanying Durami every night, patiently indulging her whims. One night, Durami asks Ho-jin for the lyrics to the opera from Pretty Woman, saying Mu-hee needs to sound intelligent when the time comes. Ho-jin observes that Mu-hee seems genuinely happy lately and asks Rami why she is still around. Rami replies that Mu-hee remembers her past accident but chooses to pretend she does not. When Ho-jin gently pats Rami's head in an attempt at kindness, she suddenly bites him, sharp and unpredictable. The story circles back to the opera hall where Mu-hee is stunned to realize that she understands Italian without effort. That night, Rami and Ho-jin spend time together again. This time, Rami has stolen Hiro's film camera. She insists it needs to disappear so Mu-hee can later find it and earn Hiro's goodwill. She threatens Ho-jin into hiding it for her. While the rest of the crew has dinner together, Ms. Che notices that John is no longer wearing her engagement ring. Jun quickly puts it back on, pretending nothing is wrong, which visibly irritates Young-jung. Outside, Nami spots Ho-jin from a distance, recognizes his coat, and realizes he is with a woman. The next morning, panic spreads when a hero's camera goes missing. Ho-jin discreetly places it where Mu-hee will find it. Suddenly, it dawns on him that Rami may have taken a photo of him with the camera. He pulls Mu-hee aside under the excuse of checking the footage. They share a brief, quiet conversation before Mu-hee is called away again. Nami later approaches Ho-jin, saying she wants to ask him something before booking opera tickets for Hiro and Mu-hee. She explains that she saw him with a woman wearing Cha Mu-hee's shoes. Ho-jin lies without hesitation, saying it was not Mu-hee. The team then visits a Japanese photographer's exhibition at Hiro's request. He has a personal connection to the photographer who shot his debut photos. Trouble follows when the crew learns that their next filming location, a winery, has been damaged by fire. Miss Che remembers that Jin Suk knows someone who owns a winery and urges Jin to call him. Jin does, securing a new location. A brief scene with the winery owner hints that she could be Ho-jin's or Jin Suk's mother, though nothing is confirmed. Later, Ho-jin visits the restaurant he once went to with Raimi, this time alone. The server tells him that Raimi always drew a 4-leaf clover on a napkin whenever she visited and hoped to draw a 7th one someday, believing it would bring good luck. At the exhibition, Mu-hee stops in front of a photograph of the Northern Lights. Her eyes fill with tears as memories of Ho-jin surface. In seconds, she becomes Raimi again. Hiro notices the sudden shift in her demeanor. Raimi later seeks out Ho-jin and finally admits the truth. She has been meeting him because Mu-hee still loves him but cannot be with him openly. Mu-hee lives in fear that Ho-jin will uncover her deepest secret. Her mother killed her father and then tried to kill her as well. That trauma shattered her childhood and shaped the way she loves now, begging for affection and then running away from it. Hearing this, Ho-jin is shaken. He pulls Raimi into a quiet embrace. Raimi holds him tightly and asks him to leave Mu-hee. She says that only then will Mu-hee stop clinging to the fantasy of a happy ending with him. Episode 9 ends here. Episode 10 begins with Raimi waking up inside the photography exhibition. Without hesitation, she heads out to meet Ho-jin. Hiro follows her quietly, but Raimi senses his presence. She turns, gently shakes her head at him, then bows politely before leaving. As Hiro watches her walk away, realization dawned on him. The way she bowed was exactly like dear Raimi in the movie. The next morning, Mu-hee meets a young Italian girl named Maria, someone Raimi spent time with the night before. Maria cheerfully asks about Ho-jin, calling him babe the same way Raimi always does. Mu-hee is confused, unable to understand who the girl is referring to. Later, she overhears Miss Cha casually mentioning that she saw Ho-jin with his girlfriend. The words hit Mu-hee harder than she expects because of the sudden change in filming plans. The team is now set to attend an Italian wedding at a winery. Naomi informs Hiro and hands him the opera tickets meant for him and Mu-hee. Hiro hesitates, unsure whether to invite her until Nami mentions seeing Ho-jin with a woman he seemed close to. Mu-hee finds herself restless and unsettled, her thoughts circling around the idea of Ho-jin's girlfriend. When Hiro notices her frustration, he gently advises her not to ask Ho-jin about it, warning that she may regret it later. Elsewhere, tells Ho-jin that the new filming location is his mother's winery. Ho-jin stiffens and asks her to keep their relationship hidden from the rest of the crew. Later, Mu-hee casually asks Ho-jin how to say babe in Italian, then bluntly reveals that she knows about his Italian girlfriend. Ho-jin admits that he really was with a woman and even offers to explain who she is, but Mu-hee stops him before he can continue. The team arrives at the winery and is greeted by Ho-jin's mother, Youn-jung, and a man named Dario. Ho-jin remains seated in the van, refusing to join the introductions. As the filming begins, Hiro and Mu-hee participate in various activities around the winery. Inside the house, Mu-hee notices a photograph featuring. Slowly, the truth clicks into place. Mi-jung is Ho-jin's mother. On camera, Mu-hee gently pushes Mi-jung to speak with her son, leaving Ho-jin no choice but to agree to join them for dinner. Later, Ho-jin opens up to Mu-hee. He admits he is not on good terms with his mother. After a major argument, they did not speak for 13 years. He tells Mu-hee she has to attend the dinner with him since she dragged him into this situation in the first place. Mu-hee points out that the wedding taking place at the winery belongs to Dario. When they see Dario trying to take Mi-jung's hand, Ho-jin misreads the moment and lashes out, starting a heated confrontation. The argument only stops when Mi-jung announces that she is the one marrying Dario. Shocked, Ho-jin protests, unable to accept his mother marrying a younger man. The tension breaks abruptly when Mu-hee suddenly collapses. Ho-jin rushes to her side, tending to her bruised leg. He quietly tells her that he knows she fell on purpose to stop the fight, as he gently ices her injury. The distance between them melts. Mu-hee is about to ask him about his girlfriend when Dario interrupts, announcing that Mi-jung is ready to talk. During their conversation, the past finally comes into the open. Ho-jin reveals that the only novel he ever wrote was about his parents' marriage. Mi-jung admits she was hurt by how harshly he portrayed her and burned the book in anger, leaving and swearing never to speak to him again. After years of silence, they finally apologize to each other and reconcile. The wedding proceeds beautifully. During dinner, finally tells her colleagues that her wedding is officially cancelled. She later finds Young-yu and admits that Jin Suk's phone call made her realize she no longer misses him. As the celebration continues, Ho-jin watches Mu-hee from a distance, a soft smile forming on his face. But Ray's words echo in his mind, and he quietly slips away. Mu-hee notices and tries to follow, but Hiro stops her. She shows him a short farewell message she prepared in Japanese for their final shoot the next day, saying she will always support him as a friend. The disappointment on Hiro's face is impossible to miss. Youn-jung finds Ho-jin alone, choosing a bottle of wine. She assumes he plans to share it with Mu-hee. Ho-jin shakes his head and says Mu-hee cannot have a happy ending with him. Youn-jung offers gentle words of comfort, urging him not to run from what matters. Ho-jin later runs into Mu-hee, who was searching for him. She explains that she only wanted to say goodbye since the next day is the final shoot. She apologizes for everything and turns to leave. Ho-jin grabs her wrist and pulls her back. He tells her that the belief she has carried for so long that no one will ever love her is nothing more than a delusion. He says he truly hopes she will find happiness. Story circles back to the very first scene. Hiro and Mu-hee stand together at a historic fort in Italy. Hiro tells her that he really likes her. Ho-jin translates the word stunned. Mu-hee looks toward the camera and asks Ho-jin what she should say. He replies that he will translate whatever she chooses. Mu-hee answers in English that she feels the same. Yet later, a private conversation between Hiro and Nanami reveals the truth. Mu-hee had already rejected him once before. This time she was the one rejected. Hiro and Mu-hee attend the opera using the ticket he bought. Mu-hee steps outside briefly and finds Nami waiting. Nami remarks on her shoes, noting they are the same ones Ho-jin's girlfriend wore. Meanwhile, producer Park sends Mu-hee a video taken after the final shoot. In it, Ho-jin sits alone in the van, burying his face in his hands before breaking down. Overwhelmed, Mu-hee closes her eyes. When she opens them, she finds herself in her childhood home, then drifting through Italy as fragments of Arami's memories surface. At last, everything becomes clear. Ho-jin has been spending every evening with Rami. Mu-hee goes to the restaurant where Rami and Ho-jin used to sit together. On a napkin, she carefully draws a seventh, four-leaf clover and writes a wish beneath it. May auroras light up the world. Later, Ho-jin finds the napkin. At that same moment, he receives a photo from Mu-hee and runs to her. She tells him she remembers everything now and admits that she still loves him. In his own roundabout way, Ho-jin finally confesses, too. When she still does not fully understand, he leans in and kisses her, leaving no room for doubt. Episode 10 ends here. Episode 11 begins with a short video from a ramen shop in Japan going viral. The owner, Youn-jung, is suddenly everywhere online. In the comments, someone casually mentions that he once dated Rami. Curiosity spirals out of control. Netizens dig deeper and soon uncover an old Instagram photo of Mu-hee and Youn-jung together, pulling her name into the noise. In Italy, Ho-jin takes a Mu-hee to the quiet place where he has been staying, away from the cameras and the world. He speaks honestly. He tells her he is grateful to Rami because through her, he finally understood Mu-hee's fears. Knowing how afraid she is of endings, he asks her to assume that they will eventually part anyway. And because of that, he suggests that they date freely now without clinging to the idea of a perfect ending. They agree to be together for at least 1 month, choosing the present over fear. As Mu-hee reaches for the hairdryer, the electricity suddenly cuts out. Dinner is abandoned, the room falling into darkness, but the tension between them only grows stronger. They move closer and their hesitation fades into a kiss. A flashback shows Hiro finding Mu-hee outside the opera house. Tears in her eyes, he gently tells her that he knows her heart belongs to someone else and urges her not to hesitate to go after the person she truly wants. Back in the present, Hiro sits alone, drowning his disappointment in alcohol. On the flight home, producer Park, Miss Cha, and Jean notice something troubling. A post accusing Mu-hee of being involved with a married man has exploded online. People are lining up timelines, pointing out that the woman's pregnancy overlaps with Mu-hee's past relationship. A photo from a Japanese island surfaces, and people mistakenly assume the man it is Youn-jung. Jean, however, recognizes the face immediately. It is Ho-jin. The next morning, Nami finds Hiro unresponsive in his hotel room and panics. She calls Ho-jin for help with the Italian staff. Ho-jin explains the situation calmly. Hiro later wakes up with an IV in his arm. It turns out he mixed his allergy medication with alcohol by mistake. The rumors around Mu only grow louder. Knowing that defending herself directly could make things worse, Mu posts a photo with Youn-jung and his wife, saying they are simply friends. The post cools the situation slightly. Back in South Korea, Youn-jung and his wife meet Mu-hee to thank her since the attention has unexpectedly boosted his business. Youn-jung then asks her for another favor, saying his son is sick and he needs help promoting his products. Mu-hee snaps at him, calling him shameless. Youn-jung coldly points out that during their relationship, she was always anxious he would leave, striking exactly where it hurts. Elsewhere, Mr. Kim tells Ho-jin that he has heard of Mr. Cha, the chairman of the Youn-jung Foundation. He mentions that Mr. Cha's younger brother passed away while the elder lives abroad. Slowly, he realizes why Ho-jin is asking and congratulates him, but Ho-jin's expression darkens when he realizes Mr. Kim almost believed the rumors about Mu-hee. He walks away frustrated. Worse, Still, he cannot even see Mu-hee since they agreed to stay apart until the noise dies down. At the agency, Young-goo's uncle informs him that he is being transferred to sports department, the position he has wanted for a long time. The catch is that he must move to Europe within 1 month. With his growing feelings for Jijin, the decision weighs heavily on him. That night, Ho-jin returns home to find Mu-hee waiting for him. She pretends to be Do-re-mi, but he sees through it instantly. She admits she came to say something she cannot say as she tells him that he can leave her if he wants to. Dating a public figure means every corner of his life will be exposed, and she is prepared for him to walk away. Ho-jin gently reassures her. He tells her he does not mind and reminds her again to focus on now since they already agreed their future has an ending. Mu nods, accepting it, and they quietly make peace. The next day, Ho-jin heads to Busosan for work and boards a train. By coincidence, Jian is on the same train. Meanwhile, Mu-hee goes to the studio where Ms. Cha says she wants to include the confession scene from the Italian castle. Mu-hee brushes it off as something said for the show, but Ms. Che tells her it was real. At that moment, Hero arrives. His Korean has improved noticeably. He realizes Mu-hee wants to ask about the castle and admits openly that he truly liked her. On the train, John reminisces about Japan. She asks Ho-jin if he remembers Enoshima, the island she once wanted as a gift. Then she asks the question she has held on to for too long. Did he go there on her birthday? After a pause, she looks at him and asks softly if he ever liked her. Episode 11 ends here. If you're still watching the video, that means you're enjoying this story. So make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. I put a lot of time, effort, and hard work into making this video just for you. Welcome to the channel, and now let's finish the story together. Episode 12 begins with Hero and Mu-hee watching the rough cut of the reality show. Ms. Che tells them the final confession scene can be removed if they want, but Hero calmly says he's fine with keeping it. He looks at it without regret. On the train, Ho-jin finally speaks honestly with Gizin. He admits that he did like her. They clear the misunderstandings that lingered for years, parting with clarity instead of resentment. Back in Seoul, Mu-hee apologizes for leading Hero. She explains that Do-re-mi saw him not as a love, but as a happy ending, an escape from a painful reality. Hero listens quietly and accepts her words. Elsewhere, Mr. Kim meets Mr. Chai and his through a mutual friend, Mr. O worried. Mr. Kim explains that Ho-jin is like a son to Mu-hee's aunt, bluntly asks him to discourage Ho-jin from being with Mu-hee. That night, Ho-jin returns from Busosan and meets Mu-hee at the railway station. She takes him to a place overlooking the city lights. Standing side by side, they promise that one day soon they'll go to a dark sky reserved together to see the Milky Way. Back in Busosan, Jian is proudly talking about Young-gu to her friends. When Young-gu suddenly appears, he says he has something important to say, then asks her to marry him. He explains that he's going to the UK for work with a sports client, but he doesn't want to lose her. June smiles and tells him they don't need to separate. She's been planning to study abroad anyway. They can go together. Mu later speaks with her psychiatrist and admits she hasn't seen Do-re-mi in a long time. The psychiatrist suggests that Do-re-mi may have been a symbol, someone from her past, not a separate self. Soon after, Mr. Che visits Ho-jin and reveals the truth. Mu-hee's mother was never married to her father. She used the child to keep him close, and that obsession eventually led to tragedy. While Mu is out shopping, her aunt confronts her and reveals that her uncle is telling Ho-jin everything. Mu asks why she was blamed when none of this was her fault. Her aunt coldly replies that Mu looks exactly like her mother. Standing before a mirror, Mu suddenly understands. Do-re-mi was never an alter ego. She was the air reflection of her mother. The fear, pain, and darkness passed down to her. Overwhelmed, Mu collapses. A flashback reveals the truth. Her mother tried to force her to eat the poison cake that killed her. Father, when Mu refused, her mother told her words that haunted her for life, that no one would ever love her and she would never be happy. Mu wakes up in the hospital 3 days later. Yang-gu tells her how long she was unconscious. Ho-jin rushes in and they exchange a quiet, relieved smile. Elsewhere, Hero, who has been worried for days, finally relaxes when he hears she's okay. Ho-jin then reveals the final truth. Mui's parents never died. The paramedics saved them. Her father is actually the uncle living abroad while her mother disappeared. Mr. Cha lied because Mu said she remembered nothing. Hero's story moves forward as well. Back in Japan, he auditions for a Hollywood role. He tells the director that he's learned something important. If you don't fight for what you want, you'll live with regret. Nami tells him he's truly matured. Mu makes a difficult decision. She wants to find her mother, and the only person who can help is her father. At the airport, she tells Ho-jin they should break up now so that when she returns, she can threaten him into dating her again properly and stay together for a long time. They part with smiles instead of tears. While she's gone, Young-gu and Jian leave for the UK. Ho-jin's mother returns home and donates all of her late husband's books, finally letting go of the past. Time passes. Christmas arrives. The reality show's crew celebrates submitting the final cut. John proudly shows her engagement ring. Young-yu is now her fiancé. Ho-jin receives a message from Mu-hee inviting him to see the Milky Way. He goes to the dark sky reserve they once talked about. Mu-hee is waiting for him. Using her phone's translation app, she tells him how much she missed him. In her hands is a bouquet of clovers. For once, Ho-jin is speechless. They kiss as the observatory opens above them, the stars filling the sky. Episode 12 ends here, and this is where the drama reaches its happy ending. If you've been here from the beginning until now, thank you for watching all the way through. If you enjoyed the video, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment below which character you like the most. Your support means everything, and it helps me bring you more recaps like this. I'll see you in the next video.